Okay, good afternoon. Today we are starting with PO30. I can write the unit rate for a given ratio. So we're continuing on with those ratios, going a little bit deeper. Spend a couple of days working on just ratios in general. Now we have a good comfort level with ratios. We're going to go deeper with them. So let's fill in our definition of what a unit rate is. Let me try using the blue and see if we can see that a little better. So a unit rate is a rate or ratio or fraction with a denominator of 1. So it's very important to keep in mind that that denominator always has to be set to a 1. So when we want to say it's this rate, denominators always has to go to a 1. So if we look at that unit rate for $12 for 3 gallons, our question is to go from $12 for 3 gallons, we want to go to our rate, which is going to be over 1 gallon. So the question is how much money per 1 gallon? That's what our rate would be. How much money we're spending per 1 gallon. So if we look, what are we doing to go from the 3 down to a 1? We're dividing it by 3. So whatever we do to that denominator, we have to do to our numerator. So how much money would 1 gallon be, Grace? $4. Because $12 divided by our 3 gives us that 4. So to find that unit, you have to set the denominator down to 1, and then whatever you did to the denominator, you have to do to your numerator. So for 280 miles for 4 hours, we want to know how many miles per 1 hour. So again, if we're going from 4 hours down to 1 hour, what are we dividing by, Paisley? We're dividing by 4. So what you do to the denominator, you do to your numerator. How many miles can we go in 1 hour, Izzy? 70 miles. Now notice how I'm not just putting 70 on top. We need to label it so we know which one is the miles and which one is the hours. So don't forget to put your labels. Up here I didn't just write a 4, I wrote $4 with that dollar sign. Take note, when we write our measurements from the dollars, it goes before the number. Same thing with percentages. I noticed some of us are putting that percent sign before the number, it goes after the number. With the dollar sign, it goes before. So you have to keep those in mind on where you put that measurement. Percent signs go after the number, dollar signs go before the number. All right, the next one, 35 claps every quarter of a minute. So we want to know how many claps per 1 minute. So we have to ask ourselves, if we're at a quarter of a minute, what do we have to do to get to 1 minute, Colin? We have to multiply this time. So when you're at a number that's smaller than 1 whole, you have to multiply it up. So 1/4 times 4 would get us up to 1 minute. So whatever we do to our denominator, we have to do to our numerator. So how many claps per 1 minute? Chase. 140 claps. So to find the unit rate, write the rate as a fraction and simplify it to have a denominator of 1. By doing this, you're calculating how much of the numerator would equal 1 unit of the denominator, thus the name the unit rate. So there are different ways that we will see our ratios put out there. So let's look at this first one, 18 apples per 6 baskets. What would our unit rate be? So remember, we want to get our baskets down to 1 basket. How many apples would that be? Nathan? 3, because we divide that 6 by 6 to get down to 1. So we have to divide 18 by 6 to get to our 3 apples. Let's look at this $33.16 for 12 ounces. What should my first step be? Charlotte? Yeah, we have to turn it into that fraction. $33 over $33.16 over 12 ounces. Now we want to make it be over 1 ounce. So what do we have to do? Paisley? Divide by 12. So what is $33.16 divided by 12, Andrea?
Well, it's I've done the math, but it's not like for money we have to round to near hundreds. So I did that as put some.
So when we say it's dollars, it's
$2.
yes, $2.76. Because as Andrea said, when we're working with money, we round to that 100th place. When we're looking at the cents, we're rounding to that 100th place. So it's $2.76 for every ounce. Paul?
Could you do the one before it?
You want to do the $22 and 1/3 of a day? If we want that to be 1 day, how do we go from 1/3 to 1? We multiply by 3. So what you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. So what's $22.50 times 3? $22.50 times 3. $67.50. So you always have to look, how am I getting my denominator to 1? Am I multiplying it by a number because I had less than 1? Or am I dividing it down? Your numerator isn't always going to be a whole number. You might have decimals in your numerator, and that's okay. Especially with the money, we know that you round to the cents. But some of these other problems, you might have the decimals go out a little bit farther. Nothing goes on forever. Yeah, I think we should, or do we have any questions on how to do the rest of this page? It's just this page today. We don't have a second page for it. So I want you to take your time and double check your work. It's easy to make mistakes. So really look at if you are understanding how to do it, because now is the time to come ask me the questions. If you finish before class time is done, work on the practice work for tomorrow. You can bring practice work to me to get corrected. So tomorrow we can just get right to the retakes. Work on your math packet. I know some of us have turned them in. I'm going to be correcting them over the weekend, so you'll get it back on Monday to make corrections. The final math packet is due on Friday. So if you get your math packet to me by tomorrow, I'll be checking them over the weekend. Okay. So you've got math packet, you've got practice work. A lot of us had some practice work we wanted to do to get the test scores up. I don't have Khan Academy assigned yet because I assign that on Friday mornings. So tomorrow we'll get our next week's Khan Academy assigned. So with that, we're going to say goodbye to our friends at home and hope that you're having a good day. We'll see you later.